This is the Zowie S1-C, and it allows me to do things like this. I've been using this mouse as my main gaming mouse for over 6 months, and I gotta say, I think it's highly underrated. Not a lot of people are talking about this mouse despite it being one of the best options for large hands. And if you stick around, I'll tell you exactly why I think it's one of the best options, and show you how it's held up over time from 6 months of heavy use. I don't want to bore you with specifications, but I do want to be thorough, so here they are really quickly. Starting with the dimensions. The width at the widest part in the back is 66mm, the narrowest part in the middle is 61mm, and the front of the mouse where the buttons are located measures in at 63mm. The overall height of the mouse is 40mm in the back and 32mm in the front. And of course, lastly, the total length of the mouse comes in at 123mm. Zowie classifies this mouse as a medium-sized mouse, however, I would say it's right on the borderline between medium and large. If you have smaller hands, then I would definitely recommend checking out the Zowie S2C instead. However, as someone with 20cm by 10.5cm hands, I found the size of the S1C to be near perfect. The shape, which I'll talk more about later, is the same as the classic Zowie S1. In fact, the three main differences between the original S1 and the new updated S1C are the reduced weight, the flexible paracord cable, and the improved scroll wheel, which is now 24 steps instead of 16. For me, these are all welcome changes. In my opinion, it took a really great mouse and made it an even better mouse. As someone that's been asking for years for a lightweight version of the S1, when I found out Zowie reduced the weight by 15 grams, I was ecstatic. The advertised weight for the S1C is 72 grams without the cable. On my scale, it weighed about 75 grams, which is a massive improvement over the S1. I know some people don't get the fascination for lightweight mice, but it's really one of those things where once you get used to using a light mouse, it's hard to go back. And it's not because it's impossible to use a heavier mouse, but it's just a less pleasant experience. Not only that, but light mice can reduce the tension in your wrist, which can be a pretty big deal for some people. That said, light mice are not going to be for everyone. I myself would actually prefer if this mouse was even lighter, however, I think it's actually at a really good weight for most people. 72 grams seems to be a sweet spot. It's not too light to comfortably use at higher sensitivities, but yet it's light enough to still feel some of the effects like reduced fatigue and less wrist tension. Another thing I really like about this mouse is the raised mouse cable. Zowie has designed the cable to sit at an upward angle in the front of the mouse to prevent dragging on the mouse pad, and I really hope other companies take note because that small detail makes a difference. When you combine this with a mouse bungee, it almost feels wireless. The cable's also really flexible and is probably the second best stock mouse cable I've ever tried, right behind the G-Wolf's Hottie cable. My favorite part about this mouse, however, is the shape. The shape of this mouse works really well for claw grip, and this is because of a few reasons. The first reason is the back of the mouse is wide enough to give a really solid grip. It sort of just naturally tucks into the palm of the hand. The second reason is the hump placement and the height of the mouse both allow the fingers to have a lot of freedom of movement, which makes vertical aiming really easy. With the way that I hold the mouse, all I have to do to aim up is straighten my fingers. Then when I want to move back down, all I have to do is tuck the base of the mouse back into my palm. I absolutely love the way this feels, and I found it to help my aim a considerable amount. Obviously, this won't be for everyone, but I do think it's worth a try. Out of the many mice that I've tried throughout the years, this is definitely my favorite shape. And that's not to say it couldn't use improvements. I think we're just at the tip of the iceberg at finding these really great shapes, and I'm really excited to see what the future holds for new mice. But even with the shape being 3 years old from the release of the first Zowie S series, I think it's still my top pick. But what about build quality? You may be asking. Well, I'm happy to report that after 6 months of heavy use, the mouse still feels like it's brand new. If it weren't for the cat hair collecting on the bottom of the skates or the fingerprints that I have to wipe off from time to time from the matte coating, I wouldn't be able to tell a difference. I did end up replacing the mouse skates with Tiger Eye skates early on, so I can't really speak on the lifespan of the ones that come pre-installed, but I can only assume that since they're just stock black OEM mouse skates, the lifespan would be about what you would expect from any other mouse. Moving along, I didn't experience any significant problems on my copy with side play, nor did I have issues with excessive post or pre-travel. The clicks feel snappy and responsive, although perhaps a little bit too hard to press down for my own preference. If you've ever used a Zowie S series mouse in the past, you'll already be familiar with these clicks as they use the same Hawano's black shell blue dot switches rated for 50 million clicks. Personally, I wish I had gone for the white dot switches, because although they're only rated for 20 million clicks, I think they feel a lot nicer in my opinion because they take less effort to press down. The side buttons are decently sized, tight, flat, and out of the way, so no gripes from me. The sensor this mouse uses is the industry standard PixArt 3360. Not much to say here. It's a very trustworthy sensor and can support all the way up to 12,000 DPI. Although Zowie has set the DPI steps on this mouse to be 400, 800, 1600, and 3200 DPI. This can be cycled through using the DPI button located on the bottom of the mouse, which also has an LED indicator that gives a color that corresponds with the selected DPI. Zowie likes to keep the products plug and play, so instead of downloading software, you can also change the pulling rate with this other button here, which is what we've come to expect on recent Zowie mice. Even with this mouse not being wireless or having any fancy features or cool RGB, it's still a great option for large-hand gamers. Especially if you're like me and you prioritize your aim performance over other gimmicks. The S1 shape has been a personal favorite of mine for quite some time, and now that I have a lightweight version to use, I think it's going to be a tough one to beat. So I'm going to keep using this as my main mouse until I find something else that's just as comfortable and allows me to aim just as well, if not better. If you want to see a review of my favorite ergonomic shaped mouse, then check out this video. And if you want to learn how to get better aim, then check out this one. Thanks for watching.